All right, so as I was saying, this region here still remains our confluence region, and like I said last week, we'll be expecting a breakout in the course of this week. So watch the AUD USD clearly. So I'll take it down to the 4 hour because that is where the entry may take place. So going down to the 4 hour time frame, I said it last week that we're seeing the formation of an inverse head and shoulder pattern. Shoulder, head, second shoulder. Now price is back to the neckline. Yeah, there was a rejection candle the previous candle before now. But if price makes a break above this rejection candle, then we'll see a movement to the upside, and price may potentially target this recent high. That's this region here. Price may target that region, and that will happen in the course of this week. And that potentially can generate at least some 90 pips move is expected on the AUD USD in the course of this week. So please pay a lot of attention to the AUD USD. And also I'll be looking at the AUD JPY. The AUD-JPY is another instrument where I'm expecting some very nice movements in the course of this week. But then let me start the analysis from the daily time frame. Now, on the daily time frame, just like we saw that the AUD-USD was on an uptrend, similarly, the AUD-JPY also, started with an uptrend. So you can see price trending up, making a series of higher lows, higher lows. Now, the candle that closed last Friday closed as a rejection candle, on the trend line and on a previous resistance turn support level. So technically, that is expected to give us, some movement to the upside. So if we flip down to the 1 hour time frame, we can clearly see on the 1 hour, we can draw our trend line and a second one to form a falling wedge. And we can also see the formation of an inverse head and shoulder on the 1 hour from where price may trigger to the upside. We should not forget that there'll be a neckline zone around here. So once a new candle opens above this neckline with RSI is already above 50, so that's a good one. MACD is also above 0, that's a good one. So showing that the price is actually trading within the buy zone at the moment, but we need a clearer entry for price to break out. We need to follow the rules of the inverse head and shoulder pattern, in which case entry will be made upon the break of the neckline to the upside. So if price is able to break out above that neckline region, we will anticipate, or we can take a buy trade rather. And you can see coincidentally the area I marked now is also coinciding with the Fibonacci level. So if things work out and you're able to make an entry around that period, around that area, Fibonacci 61.8 will give you about 50 pips, and Fibonacci 78.6 can give as much as 130 pips. So get ready for that on the AUD-JPY in the course of this week. So you can see that we're bullish on both the AUD-USD on 4 hour. That is the swing. AUD-JPY. So if you are a day trader, I will encourage you to look at the AUD-JPY. If you are a swing trader, I will encourage you to look at the AUD-USD. But both of them are moving quite well this week. Now, the third one I want to show us, most of the other AUD pairs are going to move like that, but let's just leave it at these two so that we don't just clog too many instruments together. I'm also going to be looking at let me check. At the NZDCHF. The NZDCHF, I'm looking at this also closely. And here is the analysis around this one. On the weekly time frame, you can see that price has been trending lower, lower low, lower low, lower low, and a lower low. And that lower low coincides with a psychological level at 0.45000, which is also acting as a support. So that technically will push price to the upside in the course of this week. Now, if you take it down to the 4 hour time frame, uh, I think it'll be clearer to trade on four. Let me just check the 1 hour. Okay, 1 hour too is good. So this one can work for either 4 hour or 1 hour. But then let's start with the 4 hour first for the benefit of those who might be swing trader. So on the 4 hour, we can see we have a falling wedge. We'll be waiting for a new candle to break above the trend line with RSI clearly above 50. In this case, if you would need to wait for your MACD to, even if not cross above zero, but at least move a little close to zero, that really will be to your advantage, if you're doing it as a swing trade. So if price breaks out above the trend line with RSI above 50 and MACD moving, tending towards zero, you can trigger a buy on the NZDCHF. So we're bullish on the NZDCHF on the 4 hour. And the 1 hour version, for the 1 hour version, this is what I believe may likely happen. We have a falling wedge already. I believe price may need to do some retracement before a final breakout. It's a 50-50, but that's just my perception of the market at the moment based on my psychology. Psychology is very important in trading, and one reason is that I'm seeing the previous support turn resistance here, and price is ranging around that resistance level. So there's a possibility of a retracement before the breakout happens. If it happens like that and a new candle breaks out above the support on resistance, you may trigger a buy. RSI is already at above 50, MACD is already above zero. So if you're doing day trading, yeah, just watch out for a retracement and a breakout, and you can take a buy on the NZDCHF. And for this particular one, we'll be looking at profits in the range of, let's assume our entry is around Fibonacci 39.8. Fibonacci 50 will give you as much as about, let's just say 15 pips, and Fibonacci 61.8 can give as much as about 30, let's just say 30 pips there, about 15, 30 pips. That's still good. I mean, it's not bad for an intraday trade. So let's watch out for NZDCHF in the course of today, both on 1 hour and on 4 hour, depending on your trading style. All right. Somebody saying they can't hear me. Okon Usoro Christopher. If you can't hear me, I will encourage you log out and you log in again. All right, somebody, oh, okay, L already responded to you that if you check your network or you can log out or log in. Thank you for that, L. So it's from Usoro's end. I think we're doing fine, right from my end there. So I've analyzed 3 instruments so far: the AUDJPY, the AUDUSD, and the NZDCHF. Now, the NZDJPY is another instrument you should look at. You can see that our analysis is just boarding around, the AUD and the NZD. The NZDJPY is another one that's having a very, very good setup that, will be tradable in the course of today and even this week. For the NZDJPY on the daily time frame, you can see that price is also in an uptrend. On the daily time frame, we can see that price is in an uptrend. And this is our confluence again, where the last candle is a rejection candle on the daily time frame, and the tip is touching the support. So it's hanging both on the trend line and the support on the daily time frame. Technically, this will push price to the upside, except if market condition changes. But then generally, that's the next wave of a price, movement. That's the next wave. Price has done a series of higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. The next one is to go up. That's the next wave of movement. All right, so take it down to 1 hour. This is going to be on a 1 hour time frame. And we have a falling wedge again. And just like the AUDJPY, price already broke out. But then we need a clearer entry. You can see we have a minor resistance up there. So once a new candle breaks out above this resistance, you should be ready to trigger a buy on the NZDJPY. RSI is already clearly below 50. MACD is already above zero. So it's actually in the buy zone, but all currently is retracing. So once price to break out above the retracement zone and enter to a clear level where we can take a buy on this instrument. And the profit potential on this will be to the tune of about 35 pips to Fibonacci 61.8 and about 90 pips to Fibonacci 17.6. That will be close to about 120 pips you can pick on this particular instrument. So we're bullish on the NZDJPY on 1 hour. So please pay attention to these instruments I'm giving out to you. These are the major ones that are going to move for this week. The NZDJPY, the AUDJPY, the AUDUSD. Okay, I think those are the major ones I'm really looking at. Yeah, I think I'm really done with that. All right, so I'll take questions now. You want me to check another set of instruments aside this one? You may just drop it in the comment section. These are the major ones that have high probability setup. My focus is always on the probability. It's not just about trading 10 instruments. No, which one has a higher probability to move in a direction for a period? That's where the main thing lies. All right, so Maureen is asking me to check the GBP JPY. So we'll look out for the GBP JPY. Okay, so this is the GBP JPY. Okay. Overall the trend is bullish. We have an overall bullish trend, and the candle for last week Friday closed as a rejection candle on this previous resistance turn support zone. Technically, we'll be looking out for some uptrend on the GBP JPY. Currently is experiencing a retracement, just like the other JPY pairs I've mentioned. I think for clarity, let me delete some of this other previous analysis, okay, so that it doesn't get us confused. All right. So if you are to take a trade on GBP JPY, I will advise you wait for a breakout above this trend line. Yeah, if a new candle opens above that trend line, and we use this rejection candle that formed recently as a resistance zone, a minor one, where we expect price to break out above. It's very important. So if a new candle opens above that area, then you can trigger a buy on the GBP JPY. So we are bullish on the GBP JPY, though the setup is not of a high probability like the ones I showed you. That's why I always encourage stick more with the ones I showed you. But then it's still possible we may see a buy on the GBP JPY. GBP NZD, Euro USD. Now, I've not talked about the dollar. I will talk about the dollar index last. So let me check GBP NZD. Now, this is actually part of my analysis for last week, I think. Now, for GPNZD, on the daily time frame, you can see that price is making an uptrend, making higher highs, higher high, and higher high. And the candle that closed last week, Friday, it closed as a rejection candle, a bearish one. And that's an indication of a potential reversal. And I think there's a psychological level up there also, which can act as a resistance. 2.350000. So let's check. Yeah, that gives us a psychological level. So our confluence is this region. Usually reversals happen around confluence levels or confluence zones. Here we have price trending up, making higher highs, a rejection candle, and a psychological level. All three combined will likely drive price downwards to the downside in the course of this week. So that's what I can see on the daily time frame. On the 4 hour, the breakout has already happened, but then RSI is yet to cross over below 50. So I would suggest you watch that closely. Now, if that person is already on the sell on GPNZD, you may leave it. But then if you are yet to make any entry, wait for price to break below, a new candle to break out below this current low.
The one where I go back now. This patch, maybe this one.
Raf, this is the second time this is happening. If it happens the third time, I might have to kick you out of this group. You're distracting the class. Now, if a new candle opens below here, then we will see the the free downward movement on the GBP NZD. So we're bearish on the GBP.
Oh, go hustle. Why cook as this for you?
All right. Please let's mind our devices. All right, so that's GBP NZD. We're bearish. Euro JPY
Please excuse
gold.
me. I think moving.
Sorry, someone is saying something.
Yes, I said that. I said, please excuse me. I think moving forward, if anybody who doesn't unmute, because this strategy, the person should be removed.
I already
Not
removed
like
Raf.
warning the person.
I already removed him.
Thank you.
All right, so other pairs we're looking at, I'll come to gold. Anything dollar related, that's what I'll treat last. Okay, Madam Manaji, DJ30, S&P 500, oil, BTC. All right, so let's quickly run through all these and we'll close with the USD. All right, so let's check the DJ30 and the S&P 500. All right, so this is the DJ30. DJ30 is the Dow Jones. And the overall trend is bullish. Price is making a series of higher highs. And the previous candle here is a rejection candle on the daily time frame. Technically, we may be expecting a further breakout to the upside. But then let's look out for entry on a lower time frame. This is 4 hour. And this is 1 hour. There's also a support zone there that reinforces the movement to the upside, which, some of it already happened. We've seen a move up here. But then we can't neglect the fact that there is a resistance. There is a resistance zone right here. So we may see price move up here, then drop. And that's the angle I want us to look at it for now. A short-term sell may take place. Let me take it down again to 15 minutes. And please trade this instrument with a lot of caution because it's very volatile. DJ30, S&P 500. So we may see price move up and see a drop. Yeah, eventually it will break above it for a swing, but our focus should be on the short-term movement because of the volatility. Even the trend line is not working for now, so I would just advise this is the wave of movement I anticipate. I see price go up and may see some slight bearish movement after that. Before anything can happen, it can go way higher. So I'll hold a short-term sell on the DJ30. Now for the S&P 500.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
But sir, is the short time sale going to come before the bullish move? Thank you, sir.
Yes, most likely, because see, this is it on the 4 hour. On the 4 hour time frame, we have something that looks close to a double bottom pattern here, which may still break to the upside. But then this resistance, this neckline is this is a very volatile instrument. So if price hits this resistance region, which could act as the neckline for the double bottom, we may see a retracement before the breakout happens. Except if there's a strong move that literally breaks this place up. Fine. If that happens, you may trigger a buy. But if the volatility is not strong, we'll experience a retracement before they move upward. So that's why I'm looking at a short-term sell before anything again in the market.
Thank you very much, sir. God bless you. Thank you.
Yes. Now for the S&P 500, technically, we can see a rising wedge. And I'm also seeing a shoulder, a head, possibly a second shoulder, and eventually a drop, technically speaking, on the daily time frame. Like I said, this is equally volatile. So even a short-term move can bring in a lot of pips. So it's not just about the long term. Now, even though that is what it's looking like, we cannot neglect the fact that we also have the market close last week here with a rejection candle. Rejection candles on the trend line bouncing off is an indication of the possibility of a continuation, like the market is in an uptrend. And that is exactly, it's still similar to what we saw on the DJ30, having this outlook of like a double bottom, a resistance, a retracement before a breakout, or an outright breakout. The outright breakout will be based on market conditions and volatility. If there's a strong move in the market and it breaks out, then at the close of that breakout, you may trigger a buy. Otherwise, just like I mentioned for the DJ30, price may hit this resistance and retrace, which may just be good enough to catch some pips before any other thing happens about breaking out to the upside. So I still hold on to a short-term a short-term sell and a longer-term buy on the S&P 500. Okay, Michael Asukwebong, Eurocard. All right, so let's check Eurocard. Okay, I was on this one. Somehow it escaped my mind now. Since when I was analyzing this morning, I saw it last night. All right, for Eurocard, the overall trend has been bullish. It's been trending up, but then it's eventually formed a perfect looking rising wedge pattern. For the benefit of those who might be new, what I'm saying is this: price has done some series of movements, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. The next wave is down, higher low. We're expecting a sell on this one. Still within the pattern, and at the tip, we have a reversal candle, a tweezer top. A tweezer top, from the word tweezer, that's actually a word that represents something like a twins. When you have two candles of opposite direction, you can see the bullish and the bearish, almost the same size, not exactly, but almost very, very close to the same size. It signifies the possibility of a reversal to the downside. So that, is giving us a confirmation of a downtrend. And finally, let me see if I can't find a resistance, but let's see if there is a psychological level to give us that resistance. 6455. Okay, so let's see. One 1.64000. All right, perfect. That gives us the resistance for it. So technically, we're looking for a downtrend on Eurocard. So let's go to a lower time frame. We'll check the 4-hour time frame first. Okay, we can see the breakout. Sorry, the downtrend started already on Friday, but then I perceived there will be some slight retracement before the continuation. So let's go down to the 1 hour. Yeah. So this is on 1 hour. It's going to give us a shoulder, a head, a second shoulder, and a breakout downwards. So on this one, we'll wait for a new candle to break out below the neckline, that new trend line I'm just drawing. So anytime a new candle opens below this trend line, it will have broken below the neckline region, then you can trigger a sell. And on the average, you can target as much as just say about 50 pips, even though I can say 60 here, target about 30, 50 pips movement, and this should land you in some good profit, potentially in the course of today. So we're bearish on Eurocard. Bearish on Eurocard. All right, so I think I've attended to almost all the requests here, the S&P 500. Now let's go to all the dollar-related instruments, including gold. Now, for the dollar, the US government is still having its shutdown, and this is impacting heavily on the United States dollar. It's impacting heavily on the dollar. Now, but then technically, let's look at what the chart is saying. Olawale, that's the first warning. All right, so this is the USDX. Let me check the USDCHF too. Okay. Now the USDCHF seems to have a bullish outlook. seems to have a bullish outlook with this rejection candle on the support, this minor support last week. That can actually give some bullish movement on the USD CHF. Now, the dollar index itself is not giving me that clarity, except if price, is breaking out above this current resistance turn support and is breaking out to the upside, except that. But I'm not getting much clarity on the dollar index itself. So I'll just work with what I'm seeing on the USD CHF. So USD CHF seems to be having some bullish outlook with a rejection candle on the daily time frame. And you can see today already it's showing signs of that bullish uh, movement. You can see that reversal taking place right from here. So we'll go to the 1 hour time frame. All right, so this is USD CHF. Now we equally have a minor support on resistance on that 1 hour, and price is trading around that region now. So if a new candle breaks out above this current high on the 1 hour time frame, you may trigger a buy on the USD CHF. RSI is already above 50, MACD is already above 0. So we're bullish on the US dollar, we're bullish on the USD CHF. And the opposite direction will take place on the Euro USD. Though technically I'm not seeing, the thing is that the dollar index has not given us a lot of clarity. That's why I I'm just I just stayed away from it for now until we get clarity. There are times when the market is not clear. Best you can do is to stay out. But what I'm seeing is very specific for the USD CHF. For the Euro USD, we may see a sell possibly, but I'm not really getting a clear-cut setup. It may sell. I will have preferred the resistance. I'm seeing a head and shoulder. We may see a sell on the Euro USD, possibly, but let your focus be more of the USD CHF. And that takes us to the person asking about NZD USD. If we are bullish on the USD CHF, we may be looking for a bearish movement on the NZD USD. Again, we don't have much setup. The probability is not a strong one at the moment because we are seeing a lot of range. This is 4 hour time frame. I'm seeing a lot of range around here. When you see a range, it means volatility is very low and the market is in a state of indecision. And you can see in the last couple of days, price has been ranging around this level, even on the daily time frame. But notwithstanding, let's check the 1 hour. This is the 1 hour. We'll take it down again to 15 minutes. I'm not seeing clarity on this. It may sell, but it's not a high probability one. The probability level is very low. Just focus on the USD CHF. Yeah, we have a setup that could give us some buy on the USD CHF. And that's just a major one for all these dollar pairs this morning. Others are not giving so much clarity. Okay, somebody is asking me, okay, I'll check gold now, then I'll check US oil and BTC. Now, gold has been in a world of its own the whole of last week, doing a lot of, very strong bullish movements, making new highs altogether. But then gold closed, on Friday with a bearish candlestick. Does that mean the buy is over? To be honest, you never can tell. Anything can happen. Like I've been saying in a couple of weeks, trading gold at this period, if you're not trading gold on a long term, just don't bother. because you may enter a buy and it may turn down to reverse to a sell at that period. You may be in a sell and it reverses into a buy. It's been doing a lot these days, and that has a lot to do with the American economy. BRICS is making a lot of nations, is making the dependence on the dollar to be fading gradually. The demand for dollar is reducing in the market, and America seems to be fighting back with a lot of trade wars with China and a lot of other countries, and that is impacting on gold because there's a scare in the market. Anytime such kind of things happen, when there's instability in the market, investors start buying gold, and that is what has led to the bullish movement in gold in recent times. But then the issue with America itself is lockdown. It's equally affecting the market and is still impacting upon gold. So I would still suggest you are very, very careful trading gold for now. Still very careful. Now, the last wave of movement, price went above $4,000 per ounce. Sorry, 43,000, pardon me, $43,000 per ounce. It was able to hit $43,000. Sorry, 4,300, pardon me, $4,300 per ounce. That's the recent high. And definitely there's a psychological level around that region. Now, the current move of gold last week, Friday, technically, all things being equal, we may experience some bearish movements today because I'm seeing a formation of a shoulder, a head, a second shoulder as we speak. So if price breaks out below this level, we can see some downtrend today. And don't forget we're bullish on the USD CHF. So if you have a bullish outlook on the dollar, well, gold may sell if there is no external issues that is affecting gold at that point in time. RSI is already below 50. RSI is already below 50, and MACD is also already below zero. So if a new candle opens below the neckline region, you may trigger a sell on gold. We're bearish on gold. But at the same time, please treat it with a lot of caution. Make sure you have your risk management in place and don't take unnecessary risk. All right, Mr. Yesakwan is asking, how do you identify psychological levels? Psychological levels are uh, round numbers around which reversals can happen in the market. Like if you have 1.000 for gold now, maybe 4,000, 1,000. It all depends on the price structure of the instrument you're trading. It depends on the price structure. By price structure, I mean, some comes with 1.00, some 10.0 and the likes like that. Just a second, please. All right. So those psychological levels, they are usually used by big time traders like banks and the likes to identify reversal points in the market. So anytime you see a psychological level, it can act conveniently as either a resistance or a support. So I believe that Mr. Akpan got that. Okay, so I'll close with oil and BTC. Our time is really fast spent this morning. US oil and BTC USD. All right, so this is US oil. On the daily time frame, price closed as a rejection candle last Friday on the supports. I'm anticipating a breakout to the upside. So this is on a 1 hour, but then it looks like price is dropping. So let's just watch. Maybe it's trying to form a double bottom, then still break out to the upside, however it goes. But I'm bullish for now, except the market condition changes. Then I can draw my trend line to form my falling wedge, which can give us a bullish reversal. All right, so I'm anticipating a breakout to the upside in the course of today on the US oil. It may just form a double bottom, then break out. So we're bullish on the US oil. That's very straightforward. Then BTC USD. Okay, so this is BTC. We've had some movement lately, some massive bearish drop in the market. Price has just been around this previous resistance on support, and there's been a lot of reaction in the last couple of months around this previous resistance here and a turn support here. With the rejection candle, the overall movement still remains bullish on the BTC USD. That's on the weekly time frame. So let's go down to the daily. On the daily, you can see we're experiencing some bull already. On 4 hour, let me check the 1 hour version. All right, so there's a minor resistance here on 1 hour. What will likely happen is we may see a retracement and a breakout. There may be some rejection around this resistance. So just watch out for a retracement and a breakout. Once price breaks out above this 1 hour level, then you can trigger a buy on BTC USD. So we're bullish on BTC. And if that happens, just like as analyzed, you may target this next major resistance level as a profit taking level. So we're bullish on the BTC USD. All right, that's going to be all from our analysis this morning. I think I've attended to virtually, all the requests being posted here. Join us again by 12:30. Yes, sir. 12:30 p.m. this afternoon, we'll have another session, analysis session. Make sure you don't miss it. Please pay a lot of attention to the instrument we'll analyze. I'll ensure to drop the link to this video. If this is all news to you, please make sure you watch the video again. It will give you more clarity. And most importantly, the essence of this analysis is to help us identify the direction of the market. I always tell my students, if you can identify the direction of the market, more than 80% of trading issue is solved. Direction is a key thing. Then later on you can make entry. Many times you get direction ahead before the entry happens. So the essence of this class is actually to give us the direction of where the market is going. Then we can make our entries, based on our discretion or based on our personal strategies. All right, that'll be the end of the session this morning. Take care and have a great day and a great week ahead. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, sir.